This proof of God, one way or the other, does not exist. The question of God ultimately is up to the individual. The burden of proof rests with you. Whatever conclusion you arrive at, with the exception of being agnostic, will require your faith. If you choose to believe that God doesn't exist, and there are people who do, then you become faced with connotations everyone has to consider. Each connotation brings with it a requirement for a measure of faith, the obvious of which is, what if you're wrong? What atheists don't talk much about is the fact that atheism gives an individual freedom from responsibility, which is the exact opposite of the nature of religion, where the burden is tremendous. If you embrace the idea that this is all one big cosmic accident, then why does it matter what one does? This is an inescapable question. Granted, this doesn't mean that an individual cannot establish their own moral code based on natural law, which simply says you know how you should behave based on what would be acceptable from others. But this can become challenging, particularly if a person's life becomes a struggle, given the fact that others will challenge your code with their own behavior. Many times that behavior will appear to be balanced against no code at all except the code of selfishness. Most of us have become frustrated to the point of asking, what does it matter? If you choose to embrace the concept of God, then you are faced with the question of, do I follow an established faith or do I develop my own concept of God? If you follow an established faith, then the responsibility for knowledge becomes yours and yours alone. And that knowledge, regardless of the faith, is subject to interpretation. How will you interpret the content? Will you lean towards becoming a better citizen of this planet, or will yours be the mission of imposing your belief upon someone else? None can deny its violent past. I'm talking about religion, and each of them has some contemporary issues as well. But none of these religions can deny that peace on earth has not been realized, and explicit competition between each of these religions is at the root. Some sort of moral opportunity must exist with people, or otherwise we face anarchy. This is the foundation of becoming a civilized society, which I believe we have yet to achieve. The challenge to evolve as a species is becoming more and more a desperate issue. We have the potential to destroy ourselves. This is where my concern lies with respect to religion. Because of religion's proselytic nature, proselytic, is that a word? Because of religion's proselytic nature, we are on a course of religious and ethnic global struggle. It is inevitable because each denies the validity of the other. Each believes theirs is the only true course, and each are for obvious reasons trying to make larger their numbers in comparison to the others. To be civilized requires that we embrace the symbiotic relationship that every living entity has with each other. Whatever your belief, we are all in the same boat. We need quickly evolve or grow up if the word evolve disturbs you, lest this become a sinking ship.